Desire is killing your discipline. So we actually need equal parts discipline in order to overcome things that we desire. So let's think about it this way. Most of us, when we are struggling with discipline, we essentially have like two warring sides. So, I love the cookie example. Let's use cookies again. You come home from work, you should eat a relatively healthy dinner, but you're like, screw it, I want a cookie or a bunch of cookies, whatever. And so there's a part of you that's like healthy dinner. And then there's a part of you that's like cookies. Sorry, that sounded funny. And so there's two parts of you here. And what you need to understand is that the reason it's so difficult, or one of the reasons it's so difficult, is because you have a strong desire for cookies. So when it comes to discipline, you would need the equal amount of discipline in order to overcome the equal amount of cookie desire. So if I had a high cookie desire, I would need a high amount of discipline. And this is why oftentimes, like at the end of the day, after work, all of this falls apart, because at the end of the day, discipline is low because willpower is low. Willpower is a drainable resource, and when we get tired, we've made a lot of decisions in the day, we've used a lot of willpower already to, not yell at one of our coworkers. That's, we come home and it's all low. So we're kind of depleted in our ability of having discipline, and then our desire for cookies is low. And what's really interesting is that most people will focus on trying to raise this discipline that's really low is really hard to raise. And studies actually indicate that the only way to raise it is sleep. So if you want to raise your discipline, literally the only thing that works is just going to sleep. And some people can convince themselves to do that. Some people are just like, you know what, you're tired, you've had a long day, just go to sleep. And sometimes that works, but it doesn't always work. And sometimes it's hard for us to convince ourselves to do that. And sometimes you're just not tired enough to go to sleep yet. And so what you need to do is you actually need to focus on this part, the desire of having the cookie. So if you're able to bring this cookie desire down, then you would actually have enough discipline to fight off that desire. And again, I'm saying cookies, but you can literally apply anything that you don't want to be doing into this. So this idea is basically based on anything you're doing that you know isn't good for you, and you want to stop doing it, but you seem to not be able to stop. We all have these things, kind of these little behavioral addictions. And so instead of relying on this, because this is unreliable, and you can grow it, like meditation, practice, getting enough sleep. But what you want to be doing is you want to be lowering this. And so you want to be thinking about like all of the bad things about cookies. Like think about something you don't want to desire. Like you need to learn to get the ick for cookies, or whatever behavior you're doing. So think about it like cookies will make you feel bad the next day. If you're like me, they'll make your face puffy. Have you ever felt like great the next day? And again, like nothing against cookies. Like I'm just using this as an example. Maybe they hurt your stomach because you can't actually handle gluten. Maybe they're not even your favorite flavor. Like that's kind of stupid. Like why would you eat that? Like maybe they're like oatmeal raisin, who nobody likes those. Maybe they're old. Maybe they were like baked like 3 days ago. Maybe they're from a package. They're just like processed. They're not even homemade. Like gross. Like who wants like processed old stale cookies? Like might as well just wait for some like good cookies. And so like you got to start thinking like that. You got to kind of like lower the desire, like almost like negging the cookies. And that way you can get it down low enough for you to have an equal amount of discipline in order to kind of change your behavior. Because if desire is always up here and discipline is here, especially at the end of the day, you are doing a really heavy lift. Like that's something that's really hard to ask yourself to do. But you need to lower that desire for that behavior, the cookies. And you need to do that by like focusing on all of the bad things about this. Like like gross. Like you need to almost like disgust yourself, because disgust is a really powerful like inhibitory emotion, and you can use it to your own advantage here. And so if you practice that, if you learn to do that, then you'll be able to have so much more control over your own behavior, and you'll get yourself to do the things that you want to be doing, the things you know that are good for you, that you've just been struggling doing because you've been relying on discipline, which is not a super reliable resource, especially when we've completely depleted it.